Are you making these 7 common cruise mistakes? I know we've made some of these in the past, and we've definitely seen other people make these and learned from them. So we wanted to share what these are so you can avoid them on your next cruise.
Mistake number 1, flying in the day of your cruise. This is something we often did the first time we cruised, and we didn't really realize how risky it is. If you don't live near your port, definitely fly in the night before. This is gonna decrease the risk of your flight being delayed, getting caught in traffic, all these kinds of things that might impact you being able to actually board your cruise on the day it departs. So just to lessen stress, get your vacation started a little early, fly in the day before, the night before your cruise, and you're guaranteed to board at the right time.
And that leads into number 2, not boarding early on embarkation day. So if you've avoided mistake number 1 that we just mentioned, you've stayed in a hotel overnight, you're fresh, ready the next day. So that means that you can board early on embarkation day. We see so many people show up maybe like 30 minutes before the time of the ship leaves, and they've missed out on maybe 5 or 6 hours of cruise time. We think it's a huge waste of your vacation and waste of money, essentially, because you could be on the ship taking full advantage of all of the amenities available to you that you've paid for in advance. So things like all of the food that's there, you can get a lunch early, you can get then
all of the cocktails.
Yeah, you can get started as early as you like, essentially, as soon as you board the cruise. And we just think it's a huge mistake to board late on embarkation day.
Mistake number 3, not pre-booking your extras. This can be everything from drink packages, specialty dining, depending on the cruise line you're on, reserving show times, and also booking your excursions. A lot of times these things book out or sell out prior to the cruise. So if you slept on pre-booking them, you might not get a spot, especially for these shows like on Royal Caribbean ships, those amazing aqua theater shows. They're definitely going to book out in advance. Also, we've definitely seen people who are like, I don't need the drink package, I'm fine. And then 3 hours into embarkation day, they're like, oh, I made a mistake. And they buy it on board where it's way more expensive than if you pre-booked it. So definitely do the math. Think about what you really want and need out of your vacation and pre-book your shows, your dining, your drink package, and your excursions before you get on the ship.
Mistake number 4 is not preparing a cruise-specific carry-on bag. If this is your first cruise, you might not realize that your checked-in bag is going to be taken from you before you even get on the ship and then taken to your stateroom. What you might not know is you're not going to have access to your stateroom for possibly several hours when you get on board.
And even once you have access to your stateroom, it still might be a couple hours before your luggage is delivered.
Yeah, so our tip here is to definitely just have a bag packed with a few things to make your embarkation day as smooth and fun as possible. So some things that we realized we really needed in this bag when we boarded were things like a bathing suit, so you can get in the pool as quickly as possible and enjoy.
Not already wearing it.
Yeah, or even wear your bathing suit. That's another tip. But yeah, things like sunscreen, and then
any medication you might need in the next 6 to 8 hours. God forbid your luggage go missing. You don't want to lose your medication if you need it.
Yeah, any documentation, make sure you have like any electronics you need. So if you need your phone or a tablet or something like that, have all that stuff on you because it might be several hours until you see it again. So definitely having that bag packed, ready to go, and packed separately from how you might pack for, say, a flight or something like that, right?
You might have to do a little post-airport bag shuffle. I know we've definitely done that.
Yeah, but hopefully you did what we told you in the very first mistake, and you stayed in a hotel overnight, and you could repack it when you're there, and then you got your bag ready.
Mistake number 5, not bringing a lanyard. Now, this is slightly cruise line specific, but Royal Caribbean and many other cruise lines will give you a little ID card if you've been to high school or college in the United States in the last 20 years, you are very familiar with this. It is your life. It is your room key. It is your credit card. It is your ID on the ship. You need it at all times for all things.
Yeah.
And
you need it in the ports as well.
You need it in port as well to get back onto the ship. It is your life on the cruise.
You could literally have nothing else on you at all times except your SeaPass card, or whatever the card is for your cruise line, and you'll be fine. That's the only thing. That's your life.
Yeah. Some cruise lines are now switching to a bracelet system. I know Virgin Voyages has a bracelet that you get, but whatever their ID system is, I think cards are still the most common.
Yeah.
And that brings us to bring a lanyard.
Yeah.
There's kind of two ways you can go about this. You can bring a lanyard and then you can have it hole punched at guest services to put on the lanyard. But that requires standing in the guest services line on embarkation day, which no one wants to do. It's worse than the line for Peter Pan at Disney World. Or you can buy those little like plastic...
It's like a little sleeve, right?
Sleeves that like seal shut. With like a little Ziploc that your pass can go in. It goes right on the lanyard. That is the easiest way. That is our preferred method. And it just makes it so much easier every time you have to give your pass for anything.
One extra step, if you can get a lanyard that has like a little clip that detaches, that will be even better, because that way you can just detach it. If you have to hand it over to pay for like a drink or whatever, you don't have to take the card out of the sleeve every time. So that's just a little extra thing there. And then if you did forget, you can buy them on board a lot of the time, but you'll pay an astronomical amount for a lanyard on board, and it's not worth it. So buy them ahead.
You can get a cute themed one in the theme of your choice on Amazon for $5 to $8. If you buy one on the cruise line, you're spending $16 to $20.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an easy thing to do.
And then also, just pro tip, if you get in the water and you've got your lanyard and you've got your little sleeve for it, make sure the sleeve is sealed when you get into the water. Otherwise,
someone might lose their SeaPass card.
Your SeaPass card will float out of the lanyard into the ocean.
Into the ocean, yeah.
Not at all based on an actual story that happened.
Nope. I don't remember at all diving under the ocean and finding a SeaPass card and saving the day.
Yeah. That never happened.
It did happen.
Get a lanyard, get a little sleeve for it, close the sleeve, and you'll be golden.
All set.
Yeah.
Mistake number 6 is not checking the all aboard time when you're at port. So every time you go into port, you will obviously leave the ship and you have to come back at the ship at a designated time. This time is not a guide. It's not a guideline. It's not a suggestion. This is a rule. Like, you have to be back at the ship at a specific time. Or
on the ship.
You need to be on the ship, at this time, because it's gonna leave
and, without you.
Yeah. So if you aren't paying attention to that time, you could miss the ship and be stuck at your destination, and nobody wants that. So it's an easy thing to do, but you might have woke up and you realize you're running late or something and just run out the door and not paid attention and then have no idea what time you need to get back. Check it like as you're leaving the ship. Yeah. It should be probably on screens. It's probably going to be printed everywhere, but just be mindful of that and check what time you need to be back on the ship, because it's very important.
An important note with this, there's a difference between ship time and port time. The ship is going to keep a certain time zone, and it might not be the same as the time zone of the port you're in, the destination you're at.
Yeah.
And that ship time is oftentimes the departure time that they're going off of. So if they're saying departure time is 4 o'clock or all board time is 4 o'clock, but it's 3 o'clock where you are, like, you still need to account for that time difference. Yeah. Otherwise, again, you're going to miss the ship. If you're not sure, just double check your ship time, the port time, and your departure time, and figure out what time you need to be back on the ship so you don't accidentally miss your ship.
Yeah, and in many cases, if you're just using your phone or something like that, it might automatically adjust to the new time zone. So be mindful of this, and you might have to manually set your phone to the ship time just so it stays accurate.
And finally, last but certainly not least, mistake number 7, not sailing with a passport Now, in most cases, if you're sailing from the US, particularly to the Caribbean, the cruise line will tell you you can sail with a certified birth certificate and a method of state ID if you do not have a passport. I strongly do not recommend this. Take the time, invest in a passport, and sail and travel with that passport. Because if you are in another country, you miss the ship, you get injured, you get sick, anything that happens that strands you in a port and you aren't able to get back in the ship, that passport, having that passport will be your lifeline.
Yeah.
Even if you lose it, it's stolen, you have to get an emergency one, just the fact that you have had it on file with the US State Department means you're going to be able to get back home that much smoother, that much faster. You do not want to be stranded in a foreign country without a passport because a birth certificate is not going to be enough to get you out of the country and home. And I say this, and I'm speaking very emphatically because I've had my passport stolen. That's going to be a whole other video one day. I have had that terror of being in a country without a passport. I wouldn't wish it on anyone. But having had a passport, having had a photocopy of that passport on my person, which I also recommend, bring photocopies, means you can get an emergency passport and get home that day. Do not leave your home country without a passport. I think I've said enough times.
I think so.
Bring a passport.
Yeah. And also, having a passport just makes the disembarkation day a whole lot easier. So when you're coming off the cruise ship, most cruise lines have streamlined this process a lot where you don't even have to see a person anymore. You just kind of walk through, they scan your face, and if you've got a passport. If you don't have a passport, you have to get in a giant line, and it takes ages. We've seen this line and we just walk right past them. Everyone with the passport does. So it's also just a little bit of a time saver on the checkout.
Absolutely.
There. All right, that wraps it up. Those are the top 7 cruise mistakes you should avoid. If you liked today's video, give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button so you can see our future videos.
Do we leave some mistakes out? Do you want to argue with some of our mistakes? Leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. And we look forward to seeing you on our next video.
Yeah, see you next time.
Bye.